I normally don't do an around the world for breakfast, but today I had to make an exception. I was sent the suggestion for a Bermudan codfish breakfast, and I was sold. It has everything you could ever want from a breakfast, in my opinion. I started by boiling my potatoes and egg at the same time because, why not, save pots. And then I made this delicious tomato sauce with fresh tomatoes from my farm to place on top of my fish and potatoes. I mean, look at this lavish assortment. You got the fish, potatoes, and the fruit. I love bananas for breakfast. And you can't forget the egg. This is Around the World in Food, where I make something from each country just to challenge myself. This one was a long time coming. I decided to make quindim, a very popular Brazilian dessert made from egg yolks, sugar, and coconut. We're gonna wanna start by whisking our egg yolks and sugar until they're super pale and fluffy. Next, I added a squeeze of lemon, the butter, and lastly, the coconut. What's nice about this recipe is that it makes about 1 or 2 servings, one if you have a slightly deeper ramekin. Make sure you grease your mold and dust it in a nice little coating of sugar. We'll then bake them at 350 degrees and put them in a water bath. This will ensure nice, even cooking. Allow them to cool before inverting them onto a plate. I did not show myself doing that because it's always a struggle and I like to pretend like I'm a perfect human being. It's making a new dish from each country almost every day. Today we're going to be using like half the spices in your cupboard. We're making the highly anticipated beef rendang from Indonesia. And when I said we're using half the spices in your cupboard, like I'm not kidding. And probably a lot of spices that aren't in your cupboard and you're gonna have to go find them. I went on many a journey in search of galangal. I had to drive 45 minutes away to a grocery store to actually buy it. But it was worth it. This spicy, rich, and creamy beef stew is jaw-dropping. The beef is melt in your mouth because you cook it for many, many hours. This is just 20 minutes in, and this is like 2.5 hours. The color just transforms, and you really can't go wrong with like coconut paired with anything, my personal opinion. It was really hard not to taste a piece every time I opened the pot lid. Happy Independence Day, Indonesia. This is the series where I take a trip around the world by making food from each country. We are now boarding our flight to Hungary. You may now proceed to fry your chicken until golden brown and remove them from the pan. Your carry-ons may include onion and definitely Hungarian-style paprika. Okay, I'm done with my flight attendant voice now. I don't know what that was about. But anyway, we're making paprikash. The star of the dish is the Hungarian paprika. So you want to make sure that you're using a fresh paprika. We don't want any stale paprika up in here. The sour cream just gives it that next level richness. And of course, we pair it with egg noodles. I mean, enough said. I think out of all the Around the World videos, I'm the most nervous to post this one. I've received so many good suggestions, so it was really hard to pick just one, but I went with a dish that I hadn't heard of before. Maybe I'm living under a rock, I don't know. But I kind of like making things that I haven't heard of before, because I'm sure that a lot of people watching also haven't heard of it. And yeah, we all know about the taco. You don't need to see me make that. But do we all know about chile colorado? This is a traditional dish made from either stewed pork or beef in a beautifully gorgeous red sauce. I mean, look at it. Just that crimson color. Best achieved from rehydrating some dried chilies. We stew the beef for about 45 minutes to an hour or until super tender. We thicken the sauce and then we serve. You can plate it along with rice or tortilla. Show-stopping incredible. Thank you. My goal is to make at least one dish from each country, which means today we're making nasi lemak. This is the national dish of Malaysia. I started by washing my rice, obviously, and I took the easy way out and used my rice cooker. I added coconut milk, pandan leaf, and lemongrass. Also, I'm not sure why people get so opinionated on the doneness of eggs, but I just like soft-boiled eggs. You can do them however you'd like. Next, we'll prep our peanuts and our anchovies. Aesthetic anchovies. We want to get them all nice and golden and crispy, so we fry them with some sugar and a little bit of salt until they're nice and golden. Next, we'll do the same with our peanuts. I tried to peel my cucumber all nice and fancy-like, but I don't think I succeeded. Once the delicious smell of rice is wafting through your house, you're almost ready. I was so excited once I finally found banana leaves. It took me like a month. I think I actually shed a tear when I finally found them in the store. Plate up your nasi lemak however you'd like, and make sure you top it with homemade sambal. The flavor and texture combinations in this dish are just mind-blowing. It's got the sweet, the salty, the crunchy, the spicy. It's not hard to see why it's so popular. I think I'll make it again for lunch tomorrow. Welcome, welcome. This is Around the World in Food. Today, we are making vla. Isn't that the best name ever? It goes all the way back to the 13th century. For this recipe, we'll need milk. Fun fact, I live in Canada, and many Ontario dairy farmers are actually Dutch, and their milk adds a local spin to this around-the-world recipe. We'll start off by heating milk, sugar, and vanilla. I was just being extra fancy, you don't have to use a vanilla bean. Actually, vla can be many different flavors. Chocolate, banana, caramel, but vanilla is definitely the most popular. Once your milk has come to a simmer, you'll want to add it to your yolks, whisking constantly. This will temper the eggs and make sure there are no lumps. Then we add it back to the pan and allow it to thicken. Only one more step. We add a tablespoon of butter to give it a nice richness. And of course, presentation is everything, so go ahead and find your nicest bowl or cup. Pour in your vla and make sure that you serve it chilled with whipped cream. We're back with Around the World in Food, where I try to make a dish from every country, just to challenge myself. Today we're making Bolivia, and it didn't let me down. This is the first thing I've made in my kitchen since being back from holiday. Nothing quite beats your own cooking. I might be one of the only people that feels that way. Honestly, I feel so restricted when I go out to eat. I feel like there's only like a couple options. But when I'm at home, I could make literally anything from anywhere. And that's just fun. So yes, today I decided to make silpancho. It includes a deliciously thin, breaded pan-fried beef patty, which I flipped successfully, as well as some pan-fried potatoes and an egg. You add this all on top of a beautiful bed of rice, and of course you plate it however you'd like. I chose to put my egg right on top, along with my homemade pico, and then I dug in. Cheers! This is the series where I make something new from each country just to challenge myself. For today's episode, I chose Ono Khao Sui, which was recommended to me by my friend April, who makes a lot of other Burmese food on their TikTok, so you should check them out too. I don't want to spoil anything, but this dish directly translates to coconut noodles. So I'm gonna need to make the noodles. Can you believe I've never made noodles by hand before? I always thought I would need that fancy pasta machine roller thing, but it turns out you just need a really nice sharp knife. So I'm really glad that Kuma sent me this incredible Japanese style knife. It made cutting these noodles a breeze. It also sliced through this chicken like a boss. Let that marinate for 30 minutes. In the meantime, we can boil our eggs. A lot of people ask me how to get the perfect soft boiled egg, and the answer is 6 minutes, and then you immediately dunk them in an ice water bath to stop them from cooking. Perfect every time. I'm getting sidetracked. For our soup base, we're going to pour all of these ingredients in a pot and let it simmer for 10 minutes. Cook the noodles for 2 to 3 minutes, running them under cold water to stop them from cooking. And then we assemble our bowl, using all the best toppings, including crispy fried noodle scraps. All that's left to do is dig in. I'm always on the lookout for another chicken recipe. You can never have too many. And I'm so glad I've added this one to my repertoire. We're making chicken yassa from Senegal. It consists of my two favorite things, chicken and onions. Like a crap load of onions. If you think you've cut way too many, you're probably wrong and you probably need more. I know I definitely did. Coat everything in this delicious Dijon lemon marinade and let it soak overnight. We then remove the chicken, and you can sear it in a pan or you can put it on the grill to give it some nice colorization and crispiness. I reserve the chicken grease and then I caramelize my onions in it, which takes about 20 minutes. Slow and low. Add the chicken back, a little bit of water, and some bay leaves, and you'll want to cook it until nice and tender, rotating it every couple minutes. As you can see here, I definitely needed to cut at least one more onion, or maybe two. Best of all, this is paired with rice, so it's a winner-winner chicken dinner. On tonight's menu, we have an amazing dish from Iraq. This is tepsi baitanjan, or an eggplant casserole. I've decided to include the meatballs just because they're really fun to make. Life hack is using a cupcake scooper for even portions. We prep our eggplant and bake it so that it's nice and soft, and we sear those meatballs, just for flavor. All of the items included have to be round. It's just a theme. After we caramelize our onions, we make a tomato sauce. Now that I think about it, most vegetables are round. Can someone tell me why that's a thing? Because I really want to know. I don't have an explanation as to why meatballs are round. Somebody make meat cubes. Anyway, once you've baked your casserole for about 45 minutes, it's time to dig in. Cheers!